Welcome back. This is lesson 11. I have received a request about the rib cage, so how to draw the rib cage on a three-quarter point of view. Before we do that, I would like to go over the basic proportions of the rib cage. So we're going to draw our egg, right? Egg-shaped form, very intuitive, very natural. The primordial egg. And then after that, we actually, let me mark it a little bit more. We want to see it clearly, right? What we do, we cut the top like a soft-boiled egg, and that would be the place where I put the neck. The remaining space I'm going to divide more or less in two, and this is the end of the sternum, and I open the costal arch, and then I check my proportion. I want the upper half, including this part in here, the top of the egg, to be slightly bigger than the lower half, right? So now we're gonna block in the planes of the rib cage, which are gonna be more visible when I do the form as seen from three-quarter view. That's the back. Okay, so this is flat. This is the front, this is flat. This is the back of the rib cage, and this is the plane, the curving plane of the rib cage moving back. So if I look at the rib cage from the side, I want to show an egg that is let me see, a little bit compressed, squeezed, right? And at an angle, right? So it's going to be slightly angled like this. Once I have my compressed egg, you probably can find a bird or a snake maybe that makes a more elongated egg like that, right? I cut the top, so that's where I put the neck, right? So you see how narrow this is compared to that, right? So now in here, what I can do, I can just intuitively keep going with this line, this curvature in here, and following this line in here, put in the pelvis, right? So as I start blocking in some sort of fluid form, right? Then the head is going to be here, right? And now understanding this, actually, let's do this. Let's look at the once I block in the jawline, right? Which remember this half in here from the front of the face to the jawline is bigger than this half, this posterior half, right? So the head of the humerus is going to be behind that line, right? That goes through the center of the body, and the head of the femur is going to be to the front of it. Trochanter is cut in half by this line here, right? So I have this alignment of these basic structures of the body. This flat form that I see from the front, in here I don't really see. I see it very little, right? So this is going to be flat, and this is going to turn and curve like that. So now when I draw the form, this egg in three-quarter view, on a three-quarter view, so I want to consider a width that is going to be anywhere between these two, right? Because I'm going to start turning it. So depending how much I turn it, is going to be more or less wide. So let's get, it's going to be intuitive, right? So let's get the width that is a little bit bigger than this, but a little bit smaller than that, okay? So now I block in my egg, and then imagine now the neck, right? The base of the neck here, and the center. I cut the egg in half here like this, and now this automatically gives me the two halves of the rib cage. But at this point in here, I need to show the flat part of the rib cage, because now this is an egg, but I need to put in the various angles, right? So review the angles in here. Upper angle here at this level of the second rib. We want to review the first videos I did about that. Then from here to the widest point, which is about half a head from the bottom. Here, that's the widest point up here, but the widest point is not clearly identifiable because it's fairly, the peak is softer like that, so it's a very wide peak. This peak is more visible. This peak in here is going to be bigger. So I have one angle here, another change of angle here, another change of angle in here, another change of angle in here, right? So now in here, I can start coming down with the sternum. Open up the costal arch, and the thing is that when you turn and then flat, when you turn the rib cage like this portion in here, the portion that moves away from you, will become thin very, very quickly. And I'm gonna show you why. But so now here I have the flat portion of the sternum, which correspond to the cartilage ribs, and this portion here will turn around quickly, right? So from the top of the sternum here, right, I'm going to move the clavicle back, and then put, like, imagine a bicycle handle, right? And then you put here the head of the humeri, and then the neck, and then the head, the neck, the head, and the jaw. And you can continue now here with pelvis. I'm making an experiment with this little pencil, but I mean, it's nice, you know, it's got these little leads in there that are colored, but I had to push hard and I break the leg quickly, often, so I don't know, I should go back to the original pencil. Anyway, I'm just making an experiment, right? Let me know if it's visible. So you see how I have now this sort of connection between the rib cage and the pelvis, right? And then so now let me explain you why this moves out quick, gets thinner quickly. Because imagine we are looking from above, cut the rib cage here, right? Here like this, cut it, section. So now I am seeing this from above. So I have the flat portion of the front of the chest in here. The portion that turns is this portion here, right? And then the back, right? The spine would be here, and the ribs would do this and this, but we'll leave it alone. So this is the base of the neck. So what happens in here, if I'm here to the front, I see a total width, you know, these two halves are going to be symmetrical. But if I move on the side here, for example, right? If I move down here and I'm looking this way here, what happened is, look, imagine now this is the plane where I project the view, right? So going to my eye here and here, right? So this is the center, right? Because this form curves quickly, it disappears quickly. I don't see this very, very quickly because it curves away. So now what I see on this plane in here in terms of size of the rib cage is the right side, this, right? This big. The left side is this big. Make sense? Make sense? So the same in here, if I look at this, see that? How quickly that disappears. So again, go with the egg. Go with the egg. Imagine a form that is egg-shaped, and then imagine the section. Pretty much like when you do the head, you draw the head and then you draw the line of the center and then you block in the jawline, right? And then you can block in all the facial features. Same thing, except it's the rib cage. So try different angles, right? Different angles, different point of view. This way, block in the sternum, block in the lower part of the rib cage, and block in the head. And practice drawing this in very, very essential way, but always keeping in mind the volumetric, the three-dimensional aspect of the rib cage. So I hope this was helpful, and let me know.